Namaste. In the series of life skill videos that I am doing, today's topic is emotional intelligence. In our daily life, we see different kind of people around us. When we see and observe different kind of people and their behaviors, we see that some people are very balanced and some people they are not happy themselves, and other people are also not happy in their company. Now, this kind of a situation can happen in your interaction within your family, between husband, wife, or between parents and children, or between other members in the family with your relatives, or it can be in your workplace or in your daily interaction, just your kind of the vegetable vendor or the your driver or your maid or with anybody with whom you are interacting. Now, what is the difference between people who are very, very stable in their behavior and the other people who are not so stable in their behavior? Earlier, when we used to be children, the only thing about which we heard about was intelligence quotient. The person who is having more intelligence, he was a person, he was the person everybody looked up to. But over the time, there is another term that has gained significance in our life, and that is emotional intelligence. And now it is said that researchers and psychologists and psychiatrists also say that people who are emotionally intelligent, they are more successful than people who are academically intelligent. We all in our daily life or in our interaction with people, we would have experienced people reacting in different ways. The same situation two people are put in, one person behaves in a certain way and another person may behave in a different way, which will be detrimental to himself and also to the people around him, especially if this kind of a person is holding a managerial position or a position of authority. Then that behavior of the person will affect the behavior or the the psychology or the mental the work culture of that whole organization itself. So one has to be very, very careful when you are expressing your emotions. You should have control over your emotions, and of course you should express it, but express it in the most appropriate manner. Now, before I get into all the details of what exactly is emotional intelligence, first we have to understand what are emotions and what are the two types of emotions. Emotions are nothing but the feelings that you get. We all know, we all have experienced emotions. When the child is born, the child starts crying. There are different kinds of emotions. Now, these emotions can be because of the way a person behaves, or it can be because of the environment or your own intrinsic feelings. Now, these emotions can be broadly divided into two categories, and they are positive emotions and negative emotions. Positive emotions are emotions like love, happiness. All of us want to experience that. Negative emotions are emotions like fear, getting angry, jealousy, and anxiety, stress, all these kinds of emotions that you experience, they are negative kind of emotions. Now, when we say negative, we should not think that these kind of emotions are bad for us. In a certain manner or in a certain amount, these emotions are also good. If you have a fear about something, something dangerous, we should all have fear about that. Then only it is good for our own safety. And certain things are not moving in a proper way, and we want it to move we want it to happen in a certain way, the right way. So that time we get angry, and that anger is very, very important and very necessary at that point in time. So we cannot say that all negative emotions are bad. We all get all kind of emotions. All of us want to be happy. Negative emotions are also part of our life. We experience all kinds of emotions. We get angry, we are sad. When we lose our someone who is very close to us, we are very sad. Certain things don't happen the way we want it to happen, we get angry. There is a feeling of jealousy also. See, some little amount of jealousy is also good for us. Why? Because it is an emotion or a feeling that will make us do certain things to improve our own self. So in a certain way, it is very good. I am talking this in context of not other kind of relations. I will restrict myself to teacher and student, or parent and teacher and student, and parent and student. I'll restrict myself to that. I won't go about discussing in an organization or in a family setup or things like that. Now, what happens in a school setup or in a classroom is that the emotion that the child is experiencing and the emotion that the teacher is experiencing at that point in time will affect the student. If it is good emotion, it will affect the child in a nice manner. And if it is a negative emotion, the quality of teaching, learning that is taking place and the interaction that is taking place in the classroom is affected to a great extent. So it is very important to have control over our emotions. There are so many things that can go wrong in a day. Nobody is perfect. Human beings are not perfect. Situations are not perfect. Circumstances are not perfect. But what is important and what you can control is the way you respond to that. Now, why I use the word respond is that there is a difference between expressing your emotions and reacting, and there is a way of expressing your emotions and saying that you are responding. When I say this, it doesn't mean that you should not express your emotions. You should definitely express your emotions, and positive emotions definitely you should express. If you're feeling happy about something, or the environment is very happy and people are happy, you should compliment people, and somebody has done a nice work, you should definitely appreciate. So positive emotions, we should all take care that we should express it. In a classroom context, more so, when a child does something nice in the class, or a small kind of a small kind of happiness, if you are able to appreciate the child or just hug the child and pat the child at the back, all these things go a long way in making the child happy. Negative emotions, when it comes to negative emotions, the way you express it, you have to be very, very careful. See, any kind of emotion, whether it is positive or negative, has to be expressed. It is not something that has to be suppressed, because over the time it will escalate and then it will, maybe it will come as it will burst out, people will burst out. So that kind of a thing should not happen. Even in a classroom it should not happen. So how do you express these negative kind of emotions in a in a manner that is not critical? It should be, when you're keeping it in your mind, it should be critical, but when you're expressing it, the child should feel that the child is being nurtured. So how do we go about doing this? So for this, there is something called SWOT analysis, SWOT analysis. That is, we should continuously reflect on ourselves from time to time. What are the strengths? S is for strength. What are our strengths? What are our weakness? What are our opportunities? And what are our threats? Self-analysis is very important. So once you do the self-analysis, we will come to know where we have to control our emotions and where we have to express, and when we are expressing it also, in what manner it should be expressed, and what should be the tone of our voice. The tone of our voice also matters a great deal. Next thing that is very important in emotional intelligence, as far as emotional intelligence is concerned, is your capability to understand what are the other person's emotions. So your emotions you have taken care of, you have understood what are your strengths and weakness, you know how you learned how to deal with it. Now, that point in time, if you are able to understand what is the emotion that other person is experiencing, and then modify your behavior in such a manner, relating it to that person's emotion, adjusting your emotions in such a way that it is expressed in a manner that is okay for that other person. Here I would also like to mention something called empathy. Empathy is putting yourself in the other person's shoes. The other person may be experiencing so many difficulties. A child is, for example, comes late to the school. Now immediately bursting out that why are you coming late, why did you come late, what is the matter with you, and criticizing that person, you are coming late always, you are never on time, using these kinds of words will not come under the category of emotional intelligence. If you try to analyze and empathize with that person, maybe that person wouldn't have got the bus or whatever means of transport he is using, or one particular day he was not well and he got up late and then he was late for the school. So putting yourself in the other person's shoes is empathy. So if you have to have emotional intelligence, you should also be able to empathize with others. So in today's video, I have spoken about emotional intelligence and how and why it is important in the context of a classroom. Thank you.